Hello guys, welcome once again. In the last video I have shown you how to connect MySQL database with your C# Windows Form application. In this video I will show you how to make a simple login application with your C# and your MySQL database. So for example, I have created a form which have username and password, and when I enter username and password and when I press login, it gives me the answer that username and password is correct. So this username and password, it checks in the MySQL database. So for example, I have entered username 2 and password 2, which is also present in my database. This is a MySQL database, and I have one database, and in that I have a table called edata, and here I have username and password, and I have entered this username and password 2 and 2, and it's saying me yes, the username and password is correct. And so this, how can you make this login page, I will show you today. So let's get started. First of all, go to your form, take a text box from here, this one, and drag and drop here like this. So take two text boxes from your toolbox and drag and drop here. So I have taken 1 and 2. I will delete this, and take two labels from your toolbox, this one, drag and drop into your form, and just change the text of this label from your properties. So just go to the text and change it. So for example, I want to change it like username, so I will write username in the text field, and you can see username appeared here. So like that, I have provided username and password to my labels in the text. So it's like a caption. When you enter anything in the text, it will appear in as a caption for your label. Okay, so I will delete this. Just take two labels and two text boxes and one button, and in the same way, just go to the properties and change its text called login text. So it login is appearing here. Now for these text boxes, I will go to the properties and I will change the name of these text boxes like this, username underscore txt. So this is like a variable name for your text box. So this variable we can use in the code which we are going to write for the login. So change the name of the first text box as username, because we enter in this text box username, so username underscore text, and second is password, so select this and change the name as password underscore text, and remember these variable names, we will use it in the code. Okay, now go to your button here, just select this button and double click it, and in here we will write our code. Same as the last time I have shown you how to make the connection of C# with MySQL. I will use few of the same lines here. So first of all, make a try catch block. Try, just give this bracket and catch just close this try block here, this bracket close, and write catch exception ex, and in the bracket write message dot show ex, which is this variable name, dot message in the bracket and bracket closed. So this try catch block will catch the exception which will appear when we are writing the code or when we are executing our code. Now in the code part, in the try block, write string my connection is equal to your data source name is equal to localhost, which I have shown you last time, and I have explained last time what are these, so I will not explain these this time, just I will run through the code. So write database is equal to localhost semicolon port is equal to 3306 semicolon user is equal to root and password is equal to root, and just close it. In the second line write MySQL connection mycon is equal to new MySQL connection and pass this string here. Okay. In the third line write MySQL command as select SQL. This is my variable name. You can select your variable name whatever you want. So this is a command we are passing in the MySQL. So write MySQL command select command is equal to new MySQL command, and then we will write our query. So in here write in the brackets write select star from database dot table. So this is my database name, database dot the table name, which is edata. Okay, so I have written select star from database dot etable, where username is equal to single quote in between double quote plus. So it's like this, it will be easier to understand. Just make two single quote and in between two double quotes and in between two plus signs, and just write this dot username text, which is this text box name which I have shown you here in the properties. And so write this dot username text dot text here. So this username, where username is the column name of my database, this one username user underscore name, and password is this. Okay, so this username is my column name for the username, and then after this username write and password, the column name of the password is equal to single quote here in between double quote in between plus, and write this dot password text box name dot text and plus double quote single quote and semicolon, and just close this code, comma mycon. So this is the variable name we have declared here, mycon, this one. Okay, then write MySQL data reader and give it a variable name. In my case I have given my reader, and then just copy this mycon and paste it here, dot open bracket and bracket closed. Then copy this my reader here and paste it here is equal to select command, which is this variable name, dot execute reader bracket and bracket closed, and declare an integer variable called count is equal to 0. Okay, so this integer will count the number of username and password for a particular username or password. I will show you in the further code why I'm using this, and then write a while loop. While, this is not a big while loop, just this one. So this is my while loop, which is ending here itself. So write while, copy this MySql data reader variable and paste it here, dot read bracket and bracket closed, and in here we will pass count is equal to count plus 1. Okay, so what does this code mean? I will show you. So when we are passing the query, select star from your database and it will search for the username which you have given in the text box and password you have given in the text box here. Okay, so you have provided username and password in the text box, so it will transfer this username and password and compare it with the present column values in the username and password in your database, and it will check for it. And when it opens a connection and checks for the username and password, it will count that username and password. So if your username and password is present, it will count 1, and if your username and password is present 2 times, it will count 2 times. So count will be equal to 2. So we don't want that, because that is a duplicate username, right? So we will use this condition in our code to define a duplicate user. So after this while loop, just write if count is equal to 1. So if user name and password is unique and it's present only once in your code, count is equal to 1. In the if condition brackets, write message box dot show in the bracket username and password is correct. Okay, and then write else if count is greater than 1, then write message dot show duplicate username and password access denied. So if the username and password is present 2 or more times, then we will pass this message duplicate username and password. Else write message box dot show username and password is not correct. So any other condition, in any other condition, username and password is not correct, so please try again. So we will pass this in the message box, and then we will close our connection. mycon dot close bracket and bracket close. mycon is this connection variable name, and this catch block I have explained you earlier also. Okay, so I think you have copied this code, and in case you haven't, just copy this. I will try to focus on the code as much as I can. So write this, and in the next section this. So copy the code if you want, and then we will run the code. And once again, let's see what we have. We have username and password 1 and 1, 2 and 2, 3 and 3. So for example, I will pass 3 and 3 username and password. It will check for the username, and if it's present, it says username and password is correct. Now if you can see here, username 5 is present two times in my database, 5 and 5, right? Username and password. So when I enter 5 here and here also, and when I press login, it will say me duplicate username and password, access denied, because two user cannot have same username and same password, right? So that's why we are showing this message. So I have username and password up to 9. Let me see. Yes, I have username and password up to 9. So when I will enter the username and password which is incorrect or which is not present in this MySQL database, then see what is the result. So I will pass 122 any username and password, and when I click login, it will say me username and password is not correct, please try again. And when I press once again on correct password, it will say username and password is correct. So in this way you can make a simple login frame for your application. In the further video, if you can see, this password is not protected, so and anybody could be able to recognize your password. So in the next video I will show you how to protect this password so that it will just show you the star signs or some other symbols, so nobody able to recognize it. So stay tuned and please rate, comment and subscribe, and bye for now.